guys, I'm here today with Tim. He just got done doing the inspection, and Tim's going to go over with us the results of the inspection.
And just for information, my job basically is to look at every square inch of the property that I can get to. So I've gone through the electrical systems, plumbing systems, air conditioning, heating, cooling. I look at the house structurally inside and out, evaluate the roof, get in the attic spaces. So I go through the house, I test outlets, windows, doors. Virtually everything is accessible as part of the inspection. One key thing plumbing-wise is I, of course, move water everywhere it can go. So flush every toilet, run every sink, shower, tub. If there is a chance for a leak, I want to make it happen while I'm here so I can identify it. So with that, I've gone through the property. We've got just a few issues to bring to your attention.
Okay, sounds good. Well, let's check them out.
All right, let's go in the master bathroom here. You can see it leaks around the base of the faucet.
Okay. It's just on one side?
It's only on one side. So this valve needs to be replaced. There's a valve stem inside of there. It's got little washers and gaskets in it. Not a hard problem. The other issue is this faucet does drip, probably a result of this faucet. So there's just a little drip constantly from this faucet. I think
when you turn it on, or is
no,
it
when it's off, like right down.
But after it's been on, or is it all the time dripping?
All the time. When I first walked into the bathroom, looked at it,
dripping?
it was just dripping. Not a big drip, but it's a drip.
Okay.
You can see up here on this wall, there's some moisture damage. Now it wasn't wet when I ran the shower. It was likely from a previous shower head that might have had, it wasn't sealed properly and sprayed some moisture back onto this piece of drywall. There's no moisture there now, and I believe, like I said, I believe it was a previous shower head that may have sprayed up onto the wall.
Can you run it with infrared, or is it just because there's so much moisture on there, it'd be hard
No,
to
no, I checked it with the infrared, yeah. So I don't believe there's any current moisture there.
What do you think was the cause? Was there a leak there before?
My guess is, just from the side of it, look of it, is that there was a previous shower head that wasn't sealed completely, and they'll spray back and hit this wall when the shower is on.
Okay, so just some new drywall should fix it.
Yeah. Okay. This door, you have to just lift up on it a bit to get it to close. So these aluminum fixtures, they just wear over time.
Okay.
Your smoke detector has a battery removed in the house, so they just need to have batteries replaced in them.
So every single one is open?
I believe every single one, and there's one or two missing, which we'll get to.
Okay, so if one goes off, usually it ties on to the rest of them?
Yeah, when this house was built, the code required all the smoke detectors to be hardwired and interconnected.
Okay.
So if one goes, they all go, and that's maybe why they took them out, because it's trying to figure out which one was the problematic one when they're all going off. It's kind of hard to identify.
Okay.
Smoke detectors are missing batteries from smoke detectors.
Were you able to check the temperature that came out?
Yes, so for heating and cooling, when I test them separately, I use an infrared thermometer. I measure the air temperature at the supply vent and compare that to the air temperature at the return vent.
Okay, we're looking for what, about 15?
18 to 22 degrees, and I got that on both. They have two separate systems, one for upstairs, one for downstairs, that are individually controlled by thermostats. A thermostat upstairs controls the whole upstairs, and a thermostat downstairs controls the whole downstairs, separate systems.
Okay.
Attic space up here is the air handlers and heat and gas-fired heaters up in here. And of course, I was up in there and have detailed their condition as well.
Installation, everything looks good.
Actually, the installation was great. It was insulated to an R38. It's about 14 inches deep. So a normal R value would be an R30, but this is has an R38, so it's insulated real well.
Nice. It's important on a house this size.
Yeah. Just note that there was a fixture here at one time. It's been removed. So it's controlled by a wall switch. You can replace a fixture, either a light fixture or ceiling fan, whatever.
Okay.
But typically you
can't test it if there's nothing there, right?
Yeah, I can. Actually, I have a non-contact voltage tester, so I made sure there's definitely current to it.
Okay. So I'll go with them and see what that's being replaced to.
Yeah.
So there's power to everything here and water.
Yeah, and there's a nice little sink.
So is that hot and cold?
hot and cold.
Okay.
And it's even has its own an outlet here, which is a GFI outlet, which
Oh, nice. So they did it the right way.
so they did it the right way.
Okay. Which is important to have by water. All right.
We have a bathroom down this hallway. And you'll see with this shower, what I mean about water spraying from a leaking shower. And they've got it protected so it's not hitting the wall, but obviously here back at the water line, it's leaking there, and that's the kind of thing that probably if you took this off, we could spray up and hit the wall. That's probably what I think caused that in the master shower.
Okay.
Again, missing battery for a smoke detector. Again, this here in this hallway, missing the smoke detector altogether. The plumbing lines for this house has what's called a mana block. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but this, instead of having shut-off valves underneath every sink and toilet, the shut-off valves for all the plumbing system is here in this block of valves. So if you had to work on that tub, there's a separate valve for that tub valve.
What's that extra line on there?
This is, they added some filtered water over to the to that wet bar.
Oh, okay. Nice feature. All right. Let's go check out the garage.
Garage door opener runs fine. There's only one, so the second door does not have an opener on it, but it's made to be able to have one.
What do you think of these extra outlets that were run all the way around?
Well, I think they're obviously real handy, but I do have one issue with it, in that they don't have what's called GFI protection, the ground fault interrupter circuit. When the garage was originally built, and over here on the wall, I had moved all the stuff to get back in here. There is a GFI outlet, this white one here, which protects the original outlets in the garage, the ones that were originally built in the walls, and the exterior outlets on the front porch and at the patio. The new outlets, which is a really nice feature. It's got a 30 amp service over on the far wall, but it's not GFI protected. So recommend that electrician install GFI protection for these additional outlets. And they could do it all right here from this panel. You can have a GFI outlet or a GFI breaker that they could switch out these plugs or these breakers with fairly inexpensively.
When you say 30 amp, what is that for?
That's for, like, I have a motorhome, and to power it, it takes a 30 amp service.
Okay.
So you might have some higher end power equipment or a welder or a power tool that requires higher amperage.
So
Water shut-off valve. So this valve would shut the water off to the house. You can also shut it off out of the street at the water meter. But this valve is the original gate valve, and it won't, I couldn't get it to turn under normal pressure. We have hard water here in Nevada, and minerals build up inside of that valve stem. And
so if you're not constantly turning,
if you don't turn it at least once a year, it'll get like this, where it's got a mineral buildup inside of it, and the valve will turn.
So if you needed a quick shut off, you would have to go to the street and turn it?
Go to the street, yes.
Okay.
There's a, right on the front curb sidewalk, there's a cover that says water. Pull that cover off, and the water meter's there, and a shut-off valve there.
Okay.
But you want to probably have this replaced for convenience. 30 amp circuit right here.
Oh, okay.
So it takes a different kind of plug, and it's designed that way so you can't, you don't, most appliances don't want that much amperage unless they're designed for it.
There's a lot of outlets in here.
Yeah, they put a bunch in, be handy. It just needs to have be GFI protected. That's what I recommend. By the way, the water heater's over in the corner here, and
It's fairly new.
It's from 2019.
Oh, okay.
So it's brand new, yeah. And the house does have a fairly high-end water filtration softening system that doesn't use salt. So this tank actually does the filtration. It's got a pre-filter in the back. And
We didn't even notice that the first time. It was being blocked probably by the fridge, but is this something we probably have to find out if it's leased or owned? Or?
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned in the report, to check on that.
Okay.
Plus, you want to find out who services it, because this tank needs to be serviced periodically, and
But it's great because it doesn't take salt, right? So
right, you don't have to add anything,
Okay.
salt to it or anything. Plus, with the water softener, that salt ends up being flushed out and over down into Lake Mead, so it's nice not to put that salt in the lake.
Did the earthquake straps, everything's up to code? Looks
Yes.
good.
Yes. Done. Even, it's also in a pan, and they drain the pan through the wall to the exterior.
Oh, wow.
So if it does leak, it'll leak outside rather
Well,
than.
that's good to see.
flooding
Mostly you
inside
see
the house.
that leak going into the garage.
Yeah.
Okay. Some nice surprises. How's the kitchen?
Kitchen was great. The garbage disposal didn't fire right away, but it was just frozen a little bit, probably from lack of use.
Okay.
If they don't use it on a regular basis.
You
But
have to turn it?
yeah, there's a little key you can put in underneath it to get it kind of broken loose, and then it runs fine and quiet, and no issues there.
Okay.
And I run, of course, all the kitchen appliances, the ovens, 2 ovens. I take temperature readings, fire up the ovens, and then take a temperature reading and a picture with my infrared thermometer in the report. Run the cooktop and refrigerator. I don't know if it's staying with the house or not, but it's definitely functional. Got good temperatures out there. There is one issue with the in the kitchen, and it's the microwave has an exhaust vent. It's nice that it does vent to the exterior, but the exterior vent has an environmental flap that opens and closes when it's off, so the wind doesn't back up through. The flap is stuck and it doesn't open fully
Is it stuck in the open or the closed position?
in the closed position,
So nothing's gonna go outside?
so nothing really goes outside.
Okay.
Again, that's a fairly easy fix. It's typically little chunks of drywall around that little
Blocking
thing,
it?
just
Okay.
blocking it, and so it can be fixed, fairly easy. It does move a little bit, but it doesn't fully open to allow all the air to escape. It blows up and out to the exterior, which is a really nice feature. Some houses just have it recirculate, so you get those skipping smells back in the house. This goes to the outside. 3-speed fan. Internal flap here. You might want to get up close of this so you can see what it is. A kind of tan flap inside there. That's supposed to open up to allow the exhaust air to escape, and it's not opening.
So you had it running inside and came outside and it wasn't doing anything? Okay.
And again, it's typically little chunks of drywall. When they install it, it just gets messy, and I see it about half the time it has this condition. But again, I think it's an easy fix.
Okay, so this is right by the sliding door. What about this feature here? This is attached to the house?
Yes. And it's bolted to the concrete.
So structurally it's fine. Looks
And
like it's got electric to it.
Yeah, it has lights, and it likely had a shade canopy over it.
That's why I thought that blew off.
Yeah, that either blew off or weathered and tore. With our sun, things only last so long out here.
Okay, so how was the pool?
Actually, the pool surface and almost everything's perfect. We'll note that these pool decking, you can see it's starting to fail a bit. So it's, you probably want to recoat it eventually.
Okay.
I ran all the pool equipment. The pool has an autofill valve, so it automatically keeps itself full. The pool surface all looks really clean. I don't see any cracks structurally. It's in really good shape. And the only issue I have with the pool light is functional. The pool light is protected with a GFI outlet. We have electricity underwater. If there was a short, we don't want to energize the pool. So the GFI to protect that is over here at the panel, and it's not functional. So it needs to be replaced with a functioning.
How do you get that to trip to see if it is functioning?
Well, I have an outlet tester I put in it, and it has test buttons on it, and I couldn't get it to trip.
We'll see what that looks like.
It's actually right here. That's the typical place where they're installed for pool. It has a test and a reset button, but it won't trip. So you can turn the pool light on and it works, but the light won't. The light will not. You can't cut the current to it with that GFI, and I believe it's likely because of this outlet that they installed to have a remote on and off switch for the pool light. But whoever installed it improperly. It's got the hot and neutral wires reversed, so that's likely because that current feeds current to that too, and that's likely why it won't.
So that's the light switch to turn it on?
And this is the pool light switch. And it is run on a timer, so it turns itself on and off based on how you set it and how long you want it to run.
Okay. What about the moisture kind of stains on the outside?
There's a little bit, but I ran it quite a while.
And it
These are actually likely more like grease stains. This top half comes off, and there's a big rubber gasket underneath there.
Okay.
And you put a silicone sealant on it, and that silicone eventually drips down, and that's what's causing that. And that's pretty normal to see.
What is the hose bib for?
If you wanted to, you can run water out of the pool, so you could put a hose on there. And
That's for draining it?
You could drain it that way.
Okay.
It would take a long time. If you really want to drain the pool, you go down to Leslie's Pool Supply and for $25 or even Home Depot and rent a sump pump, and you drop it in there with a 2-inch opening and drain the pool fairly quickly.
So it looks like something's not plugged in over there. I don't know what that goes to.
These are low voltage transformers
For landscaping?
for landscape lighting.
Lights, okay.
The landscape, they're not in use, they're not plugged in, they're not in use and there's no landscape lighting on here. So there was at one time, so these are obsolete basically.
Okay. We have both units here. I don't know if that one's bigger or not. It's bigger in size.
Yeah, it's a 5-ton and a 4-ton. So it's 9 tons of air conditioning for the house. The infrared camera, it sees temperature, but it sees it to a really fine degree. I don't know if you can see the screen, but this is what they find the guy hiding in the bushes, what the police find the guy hiding in the bushes at night, because he's a temperature difference way different from the background that he's in. I use it for just the opposite. Let me show you how sensitive this is. Look at this piece of wall. See, my screen is all one color, but if I just touch the wall, now look at it. There's my handprint, because I transferred a little bit of heat from my hand to the wall, and this camera is that sensitive it can pick up just that second of additional heat. I use it for pretty much just the opposite. Anything that's wet will be colder than the surrounding area. So during the course of the inspection, I flushed every toilet, sink, drain, push water everywhere, as I had said. And then the last thing I did was go back through the whole house with this infrared camera, looking at walls, underneath sinks, like here in the family room here. It's right below the master bath, so there's tub drain, sink drains, shower drain, toilet drain, water lines running between those 2 floors. And with this camera, if there was any leaks there, even if they're tiny, I can see it with this camera because it's that sensitive. So last thing I did was go through the whole house, and we don't have any water leaks, which is a good thing. Also, the first thing I do is start at the street at the water meter. The water meter has what's called a minute flow indicator on the face of it, which will turn if there's any water moving through the meter to the house. So if everything's off in the house, that little valve should not be turning, which is how I found it. So it's pretty sure I'm positive there's no leaks between the meter and the house, and there's no leaks inside, supply side leaks either. So we got a good bill of health for as far as plumbing and moisture issues.